Alright guys, let's see what happened with Bitcoin. It seems like it shows at least some signs, some hope for the reversal, although very similar picture was around this area, so we should be very careful because again we can return back to the continuation of the correction. So the first thing which Bitcoin should do is to go above this resistance which was support so far, and after doing that we would like to see a new high, at least higher than this one, above $11,000 and potentially above this $11,900. So indeed there is a lot of work to be done before we'll say that okay, we're done, we're not going below $9,000. Although again, considering all the general things, especially from the TA perspective, which we discussed yesterday, this becomes more and more likely to happen. Also during this time, altcoins getting some strength. You see they were going up because the dominance of Bitcoin is going down, and potentially actually it would be nice to see something like this, like head and shoulders pattern, so eventually the dominance will go even lower and altcoins will return some of their positions. And there are some interesting patterns here for some of the altcoins. Most of them I posted on Telegram, so go ahead and check it out, but I will not cover them today because I don't think that they are that important, and also they are still remain quite risky because with every strong move of Bitcoin up or down, altcoins may lose their value once again, at least with respect to Bitcoin. Instead of that, what I was going to talk today about is this research from Token Analyst about the fact that some flow of the coins into the crypto exchanges may correlate with the price of those coins. So we often see that, okay, we have like transaction to some exchange with a huge amount of certain coin, Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Tron, whatever. And we say that, okay, it may lead to the fact that those coins will be sold, therefore the price will go down, and vice versa. If the coins were moved from the exchanges, then it means that supply is lower, so the price may go up. So in this research, they checked for the correlation between the price of Ether and the amount of the transactions made to biggest exchanges. So for example, for the inflow transaction count, we can see that there is a clear correlation between the price and this count, especially at the highest peaks, and it is actually reasonable, like the bigger the price is, the more hype and so on. But the more interesting point is that in a similar manner you can say something about the correlation between the volatility of the price and the amount of the transactions. So the more coins are transferred into the exchange, the more they are traded, so the volatility is bigger. And it is actually valid even for the small correlation of the price through the whole history which we can observe here. Now, of course, the most interesting point is how the amount of the transaction, like average inflow transaction amount, will correlate with the price. And here we see pretty much the same correlation. So the bigger the amount, the higher the price at this point. And this is inflow, so it's not an outflow or the net flow. Actually, it's interesting. You can look at the different exchanges, and for the Kraken exchange, you see such a spiky behavior of the transactions. It's very interesting, and I don't know why it happens, but this is a separate story. In any case, here is the point. The peak of the amount of the transaction, inflow transaction I mean, usually correlates with the peak of the price. So as soon as the amount of the transactions goes down, it is usually followed with a drop in the price as well. The problem here is that we can't really spot the maximum point of the transaction amount because it can grow even higher. We can only say that post factum around here at least. So using this as a technical indicator becomes a little bit complicated, but still possible to some extent. Now finally, if you look at the so-called net flow, when you have the integrated inflows and the integrated outflows and have a delta between them, then you would have this kind of chart, and here you can see obvious peaks, obvious highs and lows for this net inflow. Of course, you can speculate that, for example, around this point the inflow was very high because a lot of people were scared that the price will go even lower, so they moved their Ether from their cold wallets to the exchanges and sold it around here, and at the same time so-called smart money bought this Ether and they withdrew this Ether eventually from the exchanges, so this peak appeared on the opposite side of the spectrum. Pretty much the same here, like this peak may be as an integrated outflow from this area, and this one is an attempt to buy Ether during this pullback from the top. The other way around, those peaks could be attributed with fixing the profits because of the price of Ether going too high. So you see there is a way of explaining this correlation. Again, I wouldn't say that it is unreasonable, but the point is it's really hard to say where the price will go by just looking at the net flow, even when we have some spikes or dips in these metrics. So the major takeaway from that, in my opinion, is that when you see some alert that certain coins with a huge amount was transferred to the exchange or from the exchange, you should be very careful with using it as a signal for buying or selling this coin, in a hope that this transaction may be a signal for the pump or dump of the price. Okay guys, I will keep you updated. But don't forget that everything which I say is my personal opinion and not a financial advice. See you tomorrow, and thank you for watching.